What's up, everybody? I'm Chris. This is B is for Build. We are back working on the Plan A BRZ, and it's the point of the build where we start making lists. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is a list that we're starting with. We got some goals. We got some things we want to do. By the end of this episode, I want to have driven this car, and we don't have to get through the whole list to get there. We got a lot of things on this list that we need to do. Some of them are a little bit optional, but this is basically my list to, once I get this done, I can head it down to the DMV and go get some registration. So the first thing that we're going to start working on is a bit unfortunate, but when we were patching up our oil leak underneath the car, we got the two major ones, but there seems to be a third spot that's leaking. It's like a really small rate of leakage, but it's more than I want for a daily driver. I'd like to have no leakage at all. So I'm going to jump under there, I'm going to pull the exhaust manifold off, and I'm going to start hunting, do a lot of cleaning. And meanwhile, while I'm doing that, or while different things are solidifying, like if I have to do JB weld or some other sealant, while that stuff's hardening up, we're going to start cruising through this list. But by the end of this episode, we will drive this car, and I will do a burnout. And it might be in gravel, but it'll be a burnout. Stay tuned. Almost tripped. All right, so I jumped underneath the car, pulled the exhaust manifold off, grabbed some JB weld, threw some more JB weld on some different areas that I saw that were like a little bit suspect. Basically, one thing though is certain, the places that we did JB weld are still holding up mint. They are not where the leak is coming from. So I'm looking at just some other connectors. What I think basically is maybe that when the engine got hit, that gasket got a little bit damaged or something, and it's like a really small pinhole leak. So I hit it with some JB weld, and then after that, I'm gonna try this stuff that I fucking lost. Anyways, I got some spray sealant, and it's good for low pressure leaks, and they say you can do it on engine blocks and you just spray it on there. So I got some JB weld on there, let that set up a little bit, and then I'm gonna blast it with spray sealant. And with the hopes that that won't melt off when my exhaust manifold heats up. And if it does, oh well. But if it works, I'll let you guys know, and then you can use it at home. So that is most of the work done for the oil leak. Adrian's working on cleaning up our taillights, and he already cleaned up the headlights, so those are good to go. One of the viewers wrote in and said, yeah, careful with keeping tape on those things when they get wet and everything, and obviously I was guilty of that. Screwed up the taillights by leaving tape on them. There's tape residue all over them, so we're cleaning those off. And then I think I'm going to jump on the inside of the car, clean up the passenger airbag by ripping that out. A bunch of people had a lot of comments about safety and airbags and all that nonsense in the last episode. And I guess I shouldn't say nonsense. I'm not just going to write it all off as nothing. But right now, we're just trying to get this build on the road. You know, whether or not it's a daily and whether or not we're going to go through the whole 9 yards of rearming the airbag system, that's a whole different discussion. So right now I'm just trying to be able to pull up to the DMV and not have people going like, huh, what the heck is the deal with this car? So cut the airbag out of the passenger side, and I'm going to start working on the interior. That's that. Alright guys, I got another thing off the list. It was the passenger airbag. If you look over here, you can see through the window now. There's not as much fluff anymore. Unfortunately, that is a piece of plastic that is warped now, just like the steering wheel was. But here's a little explanation of what you got going on over there. Underneath your dash, you have this big metal piece that is clipped into a bunch of plastic little hooks. So if you're trying to remove this, you got to go get all the clips off the back first, then you can get the front. So you have this is your airbag, it sits in here. This is the explosive charge. It is legitimately just a bomb that has two connectors on the back. Those connectors bridge when your ABS, or you're not ABS, but your SRS system is engaged, and kablam, then the airbag goes flying, bounces off the windshield and into your face. So again, we're not replacing it. We're not doing the full whiz-bang replacement of the SRS system, but we did get this out of there so we can clean up the dash a little bit. Unfortunately, the dash is pretty broken, so I think you're supposed to go buy a new dash. We'll figure out a way to get around that. But for now, this stuff's out. Update time. Adrian, what did Adrian do last? Install taillights?
Yep.
Headlights are shiny as shit. Going back to the taillights. Got taillights on. Looking fly. They're nice and clean. Thank you very much, Adrian. Next thing that we're doing is working with the hood latch. So down here we have our little our hood latch, and we were looking at it, and basically it's not rocket science. We don't have enough length we found out that we kind of noobed out down there in that black hole. We actually didn't pull all the slack when we reinstalled the wiring harness, so we got problems with that, and we're gonna work on that. Meanwhile, I'm gonna work on, I believe, yeah, this is loose. It's not supposed to be loose. I'm gonna bolt that down and then go bolt the brake pedal down. These were things that were loosened up during the wiring harness hackery, the wiring harness reinstall. So I'm gonna tighten all that stuff down. Oh, and I was underneath the car and I did a bunch of spray jobbery and stuff, and it's looking pretty good. It's looking very promising, so I'm excited about that. All right, guys, we are knocking things off the list and stuff. Liechtenstein. Listing things? All right, guys, we are knocking things off the list left and right. Adrian did his first hood latch install, and I'm happy to say that it actually lined up perfectly on the first try. So we have a hood latch now. If you come show your own handiwork, Cameraman Adrian, he ran the cabling, and we zip tied it, and then it's installed. It does its thing, and it runs back into the car. And that was a little challenging because of the work that we did when you have to pull that whole section out when you redo the wiring harness. So while he was doing that, I unbolted this brake booster because we need to run wires behind that, but we'll save that for a later day. Next thing we need to do in this area is rewire our windshield wiper motors, which require us to pull the windshield wiper blades off, which is no biggie, but another thing. So let's do a little list update. We have had to add, sorry, our lighting system. You know what? We probably don't need extra lights for that. We've had to add sway bar in because I forgot that underneath we need our sway bar installed. It's not installed, it's sitting in the back seat. And the front strut bar things, those are little stabilizer things that go under the hood. Those are misinstalled. So what have we got through? We've got through the oil leak. That's done. That's just drying, and then we can cross that off. That's got to wait till tomorrow. That's got to wait till that gets done. Radiator test has got to wait till tomorrow. Bolt the brakes back up. We just did that. 70% of the interior reinstall. We could do that next. Basically, that's just saying we're not going to finish installing the interior today, but let's just get a lot of it on there. We could do the front splash guards once we get our wheel clearance and our camber figured out. Battery tie down, parts for that are back home, so we can't do that. Fully install the airbox, we can do that next. Front bumper we need to do soon. Wrap up the front wires. That's all the miscellaneous wires, like the wires that go to the fog light, the sensors, everything else. We need to wrap those up, bundle them up nicely, and zip tie them to something sturdy, so we can do that soon. Unlock the seatbelts. So this one's a bummer. Just like with the Plan B when we got it, the seatbelt's locked in the wreck, so we have to take the seatbelts out of the car, disassemble the mechanism, and take the locked part of those out so that they can go forward and backwards again. So that's a lot of work that we can do today. Wire up the windshield motor, and then the rest of this stuff has to wait. Oh, we can do sway bar today too, but that's after we reinstall the exhaust manifold for the oil leak. So that's our list. We're getting through it. All right, so we're here in our little tinkering corner, and what I've done is I've removed the seatbelt assembly from the car. And I've showed you this. We did this on the Plan B video in Reno, Nevada in a parking lot, so it can't be that hard to do again. Hopefully I've learned a little bit from that. This is the part of your seatbelt that retracts and gives you out more seatbelt. And when you get in a car wreck, this is the airbag charge. It's not an airbag charge, sorry, it's an explosive charge that goes through here. And if I remember correctly, this one shoots a gear out into the gearing mechanism here, then stopping your seatbelt. So now over here on this side, you have the inertia reel, which is a little ball bearing, and it basically says when the car is slowing down and moving forward, let's not reel out seatbelt. So the two different sides. You just need to open up this side, but if I remember, it's pretty annoying. There's like a bunch of little pressure clips, and you don't want shit to explode on you. It won't actually physically explode, but some of the stuff is spring-loaded, and that's what I was talking about. But anyways, yeah, I'm just gonna pop this off and then get into here, and basically I'm gonna be removing this gear that's jammed into here. That way the seatbelt can retract. Okay, well I did the one thing I didn't want to do, which was let the spring-loaded part unwind itself. So if you've ever done this before, what happens is sometimes when you're popping one of these sides off or something, you hear this thing go zzz, and it like zips back together. There's a big spring in here, and that's the part that pulls your seatbelt back into the roller. Like when you pull your seatbelt out and it just automatically rolls back up, that's because this is spring loaded. So now that I've taken this off the gearing, it's just like completely unwound its spring. So the way that you fix that is you have to get your seatbelt back in order, and thinking that it's up and down because of your inertial reel, even though actually it'll reel in no matter what way you are. So you want to keep it taut though, and then you're going to roll in the whole belt, and then we'll reattach this part back onto here. We'll bolt it on and clip it on strong, and that way as you roll out it will recharge the spring, and then the next time you undo your seatbelt it'll want to come back into the seatbelt. I'm not really just winning on all fronts with words today. It's been a long day. I'm very happy though to be in the shop. I'm having a lot of fun working on this car. It's interesting, I was watching this dude in blue earlier today, or that dude in blue? That dude in blue. Well, it was this dude to me because I was watching this dude. But anyways, David, I was watching him this morning to get a little inspiration, kind of one of my normal things. I watch Mighty Car Mods and I watch him and some other people. And it was just really great to hear him talking about his project car and the stresses behind it and all that stuff, because it's strange that somebody else feeling the same stress and other stuff that you do can be inspirational, but it was actually inspirational, and it was cool, and I'm happy he was willing to like share those feelings on his channel and be so open with everybody. I thought that was very cool, and cheers to him, and I hope his project goes really well. I thought that was very cool, and you know, yeah, in the end it just really inspired me to just hit the shop hard and have a fun day today and just work on a ton of different things, and that's what we've been doing. So it's been really, really fun day. So the belt is just completely full up and just reeled all the way in as far as it can go. So now we put this thing back on here however it's supposed to go. Let me remember. I believe it's just like this. And the centerpiece is not going to be aligned right away. Now you have to get it at a very certain angle to where it will want to reel back out for you. Because basically you need that little ball there's a little ball bearing inside here that needs to be just the right amount of up and down and left and right, basically emulating this seatbelt being bolted onto the car, for it to want to work right. Well, for it to want to let you unreel a seatbelt. Now you can see it's pulling itself back in. That means our little spring is working. It's back and operational again, which is cool. So now I'm just going to go ahead and reinstall this back onto the car. Alright, with everything back and reinstalled, you can see there's a bolt down here that you have to undo. There's a bolt behind there, and then back in this pillar there's a bolt in there. So that's a lot of this plastic stuff. You have to pop off all of this stuff. Anyways, we got our seatbelt, bolt down, it pulls itself back up. We have seatbelt action, and if the car was moving forward and we did it tight, like squeeze like that, you get the inertia wheel, and then as it goes back up, it goes back again. All good stuff. Now the only sad part is I gotta go do it on the other side too. That's gonna take a while. Alright guys, well like I said, the next thing I wanted to go after was the interior. So you got panels like this one here and the one underneath it, and that switch panel and those side panels, and all of our whole center console for the starting and the glove box and all that stuff is all being reinstalled. So I'm really happy that we actually succeeded the goal of 70%, and we actually got 100%. You'll notice I swapped out the airbag from the plan B over to the plan A. I'm working on getting another little emblem, but those are not actually as easy to find as you would think. So anyways, 100% interior reinstall. I am stoked. Alright guys, well it's 9 o'clock at night. I've done everything I can do today. The rest of the parts are at my house and other stuff like that. So I think we got the list. We got a good halfway down the list. So I'm really excited about that. It's really fun to see so much progress go down on this car. And I'm just really stoked. You may see we have a new banner sent to us by Jake at Akina Customs. Thanks, Jake. Love having people send us stuff. That's pretty rad. So break until tomorrow morning when I'll be back on the car and we'll be getting it ready to have 4 wheels on the ground. The big thing for tomorrow is going to be camber. That's going to be tricky, but we can still drive it if the camber's off, but I'd like to get it on. So that's going to be a big challenge, but it'll also be really fun. So stay tuned. All right, what up guys? It is the morning after. I've been cheating a little bit. I've been doing some work off camera. Let me show you around what I've got done so far. Last night I ran to my house and I picked up the front, I don't know really what these things are called, but they're the little support bars that keep things nice and structurally tight and help reduce body roll. They're like a sway bar up top. So anyways, it's not a strut support, but it kind of is a strut support. So anyways, got that one back and the other one back. I've been working underneath a little bit down here. Oil leak is fixed up, but I wanted to put another coat of the spray sealant on there. And excuse that. This is what I've been using. It's called, it's by a brand called Permatex, and it is a spray sealant. And it seems like it is doing something good, but I did use JB Weld on the tough parts, but this is kind of a more general coating that I was using to stop the leakage. And then right now I'm over here working on the battery area, and I'm gonna, there was a Password JDM, like these little metal decorational dealies. There was a Password JDM battery tie down over here that is in the back seat of the car, and I'm working on installing that battery tie down right now. Last night before I left, after I kind of said goodbye to you guys, I realized that if I was going to do the camber, I needed to pull some of this stuff out and get some bolt measurements and stuff. Turned out that this car actually has camber bolts installed on it. I hit up the guy that used to own this car to verify, and I pulled one out, and so it has camber bolts. So here's what the wheel was looking at, like for instance, before we started working on it yesterday. So we have positive camber going down like that. That's positive camber. You want a little bit of negative camber on a car that you're going to be doing hard cornering on, or just no camber at all. So I was thinking, okay, I needed to do some camber mods on this car, but what it is that the guy that took it to the frame straightening shop was the last person to touch those struts. And I think what he did is he didn't know that there were camber bolts in there, and he said it's positive camber, and I should be able to just adjust these things and set them to loose camber. But to do that, I'm going to need to lower the car down, and to do that, I want to put the exhaust manifold in there. So that's coming later. For now, I'm continuing work on the battery tie down, and all is going good. Let me show you our list over here. We have a lot of stuff done. We're finishing up the oil leak, then we have camber, wheel clearance, radiator test. Splash guards in the front, protecting the fuse box. Battery tie down is what I'm working on. Attaching a front bumper, and unlocking the seat belts, doing the passenger side of that, and then installing the sway bar. So we really don't have that many things left to get done tonight. My goal is to hopefully have this car on the road while it's still daylight out, but if not, we'll just film it in the night. Time to get back at it. Alright, what's up guys? Update. I got the exhaust manifold back on. All the exhaust components are bolted back up. Got my battery tie down done. Played around with a little bit of wiring under the hood, made sure that's all good. I plugged the battery back in, and because I wanted to turn the car on and check for exhaust leaks. And while I was doing that, I noticed something. I plugged the battery back in and the brake lights were just stuck on. And I thought that was strange. And I just noticed something that's a little bit of a, in the software world we call it a gotcha, and it's just something sometimes that people don't know about. So if you ever jump in your BRZ or FRS or anything and your brake lights are stuck on, when you come down here and you look at your brake pedal assembly, this part at the top right here with all the little grooves in it, right here, I hope you can see that. This is adjustable, and it can basically slide down or up, and what that does is it makes it so when you press this pedal down and it gets away from it, your brake light turns on. So it's a little bit reverse from what you would think. You'd think you'd push down and push onto a sensor. You're actually pushing away from a sensor, and then that makes it turn on. So if your brake lights ever get stuck, just jump in there and adjust that, and that'll fix it up for you. Alright, so I learned that little thing, and now I'm just going to go ahead and open up the back hatch and try and turn this thing on and check for exhaust leaks. back from lunch. I'm a little tired, but I grabbed like 5 Red Bulls, so hopefully I can power through this. The next piece that we need to install is our sway bar. I'm not sure what the deal is with this. When we got the car, it had no sway bar on it. And then in the passenger seat, there was extra sway bar mounting feet. So my guess is some of this stuff was damaged in the wreck. The guy at the frame straightening shop probably ordered some extra parts for me, is my guess, and I got a box full of miscellaneous bolts to try and bolt this thing up. So it's going to be a bit of a learning process, but I do have the other BRZ I can go look at as kind of an example of how I'm supposed to be doing this stuff. So I'm just going to jump under there and get the sway bar in place. Once we get the sway bar in place, then we can start to lower the car down and adjust our camber correctly. Whew. Well, that was exhausting. I got the sway bar in there. Interesting pro tip to note, you know, that is an area that you can check in the event of a wreck or after a wreck. Check where the sway bar connects to the frame and then connects to the front subframe, and if that's bent, and check all the alignment parts. So my car was sent to a frame alignment shop first thing after I got it, and the guy charged me a lot of money, theoretically did a lot of work, and but this actually did prove it out, because I have a new subframe, and then when I took the new sway bar and I put it up in there, it was 1 millimeter off, which actually made one of the bolts going in there really challenging. But 1 millimeter is not a big deal. We're talking a fraction of 1 millimeter on one bolt hole. So he clearly did straighten it back out correctly and got everything straight. So the sway bar is in there, and that's really cool because everything lines up, means my geometry is good. So the next thing is camber. We have positive camber right now. We want some negative camber. So I'm going to take the car off the jack stands. I'm done working underneath the car. So we're going to take the car off the jack stands, lower it down, put some pressure on the wheels, and then adjust the camber. It might not be the most official way to do it, but that's how I want to do it actually. So I'm loosening up the bolts on the strut towers, and then I'm going to lower down the car to add a little bit of weight to the wheels, try and get them to slant in, and I think we're just going to do maximum negative camber that these camber bolts will allow me to do. Alright guys, it's been a couple hours. We got the camber set, and now the next thing that I need to do is check the wheel clearance. I have driven this car a couple times before, not ever very fast because it's always been in limp mode, but one thing I did know is that the wheels are hitting something. So what I'm going to do is turn the car on and then turn the wheels max left and right and see where we're hitting, see where we're rubbing, and see what we might need to cut away. But I think for the test drive tonight, we're probably going to be running without a front bumper. Well, that's a maybe. But anyways, so yeah, I'm gonna turn the car on, turn the wheel left and right, and we're gonna see if we're hitting any spots, and then if we are, we're gonna cut those away. Alright, well we checked our wheel clearance and it looks okay. I think this is something we're gonna have to figure out while we're driving, and I'm pretty excited to drive this car, so we're just going to gloss over that. So it's time to shut the hood with our crazy hood latch thing that I found lying in the car somewhere. That's as shut as it gets. We need a decal. Product placement. Piece for build decals now in our store. Huh? Alright, now that that's done, I think we're ready to pull it out of the driveway, and we need to do, okay, hang on, let me grab the checklist. Alright, here's where we are with the checklist. Oil leaks fixed, camber's fixed, wheel clearance we kind of tested, radiator test we'll just do on the road, bolt the brakes back up we already did, 70% interior install, we did 100%. Clean up the tail lights, we installed those. Reinstall tail lights, we did that. Splash guards in the front, we didn't do that. So we don't have splash guards in the front, so we can't drive this car in the rain until we reinstall those. I was too lazy, I'm too tired, don't want to do it. Protect the fuse box, I did that. I reinstalled the old box for the fuse box. We just need a little cover for it, but for now it's pretty protected. Battery tie down, we did that. Fully installed the air box, we did that. Front bumper, let's run without it for tonight. Hood latch, that's installed. Wrap up the front wires, we did that. So I bundled all the front wires up, and I zip tied them down to the front and made them, just kept them out of the way of the tires so they won't get messed up. Passenger airbag, I removed that. Unlocked the seatbelt in the passenger side, I did not do that. Unlocked the seatbelt on the driver's side, I did do that. Sorry, cameraman Adrian, you don't get a seatbelt. I don't care about you. Replaced the steering wheel cover, I did that. Wire up the windshield wiper, I did that. Strut bar things in the top supports, did that. Sway bar, I did that. Thank God, it was over with. It's been a long 2 days. Time to crank up the car, drive it out, except for Adrian's Beamer is parked right behind the car. But anyways, we'll fix that. We'll back the car out, and then we'll. So this car doesn't have insurance. It doesn't have registration. Thankfully, this is a YouTube show, and we're not on like CBS or something, so we can break the law all we want. I don't give a fuck. So we're gonna just drive up and down the street a little bit. We're not going like on a tour around town, but we're gonna drive up and down the street a little bit. So yeah, we're gonna back it out, and that's how we're gonna test our radiator and other things and expect failure. But I don't know, I got a lot riding on this car. I just realized, I looked back on Instagram, it has been 8 months since I bought this car. I've been working on this car almost every weekend for 8 months, and this is the first time I'm actually ever gonna really get to drive it, or try and drive it. So it's a big moment for me, but it used to be blue. You know, part of me wishes it was blue still, but anyways, no time to think about that. Let's open the garage door, back this thing out, and give it a spin.
Chop top, he says I'm gonna win big. Can't stop addicted to the shindig. Chop top, he says I'm gonna win.
You guys don't mind the Lotus Evora next to us? That is the BS for Build surprise hashtag supercar challenge. That is in another episode. With the camera lights on me, I officially can't see anything out of this driveway. So let's go over the warnings that we have. Oh no, not your pretty car. Warnings that we have in the dash. We got traction control is pissed off. We got airbags pissed off. We have the door sensors pissed off, which is a pretty unique one. I've never had that happen on a salvage car. What else do we have? And the tire pressure sensor. So, well, tire pressure sensor is expected because we did our own wheels and tires, and I did not worry about those things, as I would not. So, yeah, that's, I guess, par for the course pretty much. Sorry, the driveway here at BS for Build headquarters is a little bit sketchy. So what I'm hearing a lot while I'm driving is the mud guards or the splash guards for the rear wheels are rubbing a lot on the rear wheels. And you know, I don't know if we cut enough off of those. Never done that before. But here we go, first drive ever. Full lock, we're turning. There's no grinding sounds or anything, which is good. There's a homeless guy on a bicycle in front of us, which I don't know if he knows what he signed up for, being on the street with me. Anyways. All right, 7 miles an hour. Second gear. We got into second gear, okay. Like I said, guys, I'm not gonna push this too hard. It's just irresponsible without insurance and everything else. But yeah, let's drive a little bit. Wait, why did it beep at me? Oh, it beeped at me because the passenger seatbelt is not latched. It's Adrian's fault. He's a reckless human being. Let's try the paddle shifters. I don't know how, okay. Over to manual, going down to first. That's first, sorry. Up into second, up into third. Cool, paddle shifters work, transmission's working. This is pretty fun. So what I'm hearing from the back is a lot of, I'm gonna drop myself down. What I'm hearing from the back is a lot of scraping of the rear tires on the mud guards. So now I gotta figure something out of that. See if we can do a burnout, guys. We are 1 block from the police station. Oh God, it's just gonna keep annoying us with that nonsense. Anyways. Well, it didn't like that. It didn't like that. All right, par for the course on donuts. Heading back to the shop. That was front grindage, which I don't really know what. Oh, that would have been. The Triptronic little paddle shifty part of this transmission seems to be great. I really do enjoy that. That grinding sound was going to be the tires rubbing under high pressure on the fender, so the front fender. So that's a part that we knew we needed to trim. Starting to smell an awful lot like melting oil, which is very much expected for this car. And we are coming back into the shop. At some point you just have to call no catastrophic failures just a complete success. Well, I did a skid. It's not a burnout. I know I promised you guys a burnout. We'll have to... Wait, hang on. You know what? I'm not one to not deliver. Hashtag don't hurt my Evora. Maybe I'll go backwards a little bit and run into Adrian's car. We got a lot of smoke already coming from under the hood. All right, let's see if I can just do it. Nope. Oh, the traction control went off. Okay, so let's turn it off again. The traction control was off. The traction control was pissed off and didn't work. Now it is working. We must have fixed it while we made that ingenious drive. So here we go. One more try. Little gas brake dip. Automatic. Come on. Automatic burns. There we go. All right, and we just lost the lease for our shop, but we did a burnout. Moving forward. Let's see the aftermath of our test drive. I'm very happy about it. Dude, film some of that.
So we're going.
Oh, okay. Here, point your... Okay.
Oh, shit.
So as you can see from
How
over
soon is
here...
he filming to notice any of this shit going?
So as you can see from over here, we have a little bit of residual oil on the exhaust manifold. Hopefully that's not fresh oil that's burning off. Or you should say that's like pro burnout smoke. Anyways, it's been a good 2 days, guys. I had a lot of fun. That was a long list, and I'm very proud of myself for sticking through it. I probably put in like 24 hours in the last 2 days working on this car. And I'm really happy. That was a fun little test drive. That 8 months is the first time I've ever driven this car. I didn't know if the transmission worked, etc. But anyways, it was a great time. Thank you guys for tuning in. Check us out, facebook.com/BS4Build, BS4Build on Instagram. If you'd like to buy any of our merch, we got key tags, we have lanyards, we got decals like we showed you earlier. Every time you buy merch, it helps us out with our builds and our craziness and our real stupidity.
This is way better than a fog machine, but...
Yeah, this is better than the fog machine. I don't know. It's a little more toxic. Anyways, thank you guys for supporting the channel. If you have supported, if not, get on that support game, yo. Thank you guys very much for watching. Please like the video and subscribe. Peace.